Pleasant morning to all. I am Carl Ryan, Chairman of TTARP Purple Diamond San Fernando. Today, the 21st of January, we are going on one of our monthly outings to Lopino. Lopino is in the east of Trinidad, and we will be making several stops. First, we'll be going to the First People community, and then we will proceed to Lopino cultural site, where we will be entertained. I think there is a historical archive there, and then, time permit, we will be pursuing to the Trincity Mall. As I said, this is a monthly activity for TTARP, and for those of you who don't know, TTARP is a huge organization comprising of several zones. So we are in San Fernando, and it's a Trinidad and Tobago Association for Retired Persons. And so anyone who is 50 years and above can join this prestigious organization. We do quite a bit of socializing. We meet once per month. That is, the executive members and committee members meet separately, and the general membership meet on another day. Therefore, on the first Tuesday of every month, the general membership would meet, where we receive reports from the secretary and the treasurer, followed by entertainment and motivational talks and so on. On the first, that's the first Tuesday. On the third Tuesday, it's a meeting for the executives and the committee members. So it's quite a well-organized and structured organization that caters for quality time, or the spending of quality time with mostly retired persons. And so I'm proud to be in the leadership capacity, and going forward I will try to do my best to see how we could continue to improve. So once again, thank you all very much, and do have a pleasant day.
Who was your predecessor?
My predecessor was Miss Norma Ocho, and she is now the secretary of the organization. The vice chairman is Ermin Mackenzie, and they do, a pretty good job so far, as you would imagine. On any given meeting, the general meeting, there are approximately 100 plus members attending. Pre-COVID, we had a membership of approximately 300. And so we are now starting to build back the membership capacity. And hopefully we'll get there slowly, as members who hasn't come out have gotten the confidence, because some persons are still quite cautious and hesitant to come out and attend the meeting. But it's a safe zone. We meet at the Pleasantville Community Center, where there's ample parking and ample room for members to be entertained. And until further notice, all anti-COVID protocols remain in place. So we continue to try to maintain our safety while having an enjoyable time at each event. Thank you very much.
Is there a time frame for today's event?
Well, we are supposed to leave at 7:30 a.m. and return at 5 p.m. So far, we've got 4 maxi. We're expecting 4 maxis, which are filled to capacity. So we're still expecting the 3rd. We have 3 here. We're expecting the 4th maxi to arrive. We will try to manage the time because we have basically 3 stops. The first people community, Lopino, and then Trincity. I suppose if we run out of time, we will have to bypass the Trincity and head for home in order to keep our schedule intact.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Shoot you.
Chicken me only with a lean, right?
Me.
Who is me?
Me.
Me and who?
Me and me alone.
Tapping yours! Hello everybody! What kind of cheese? Cheddar or Italy?
Cheddar cheese.
Cheddar.
Cheddar cheese.
Okay. So where are you going?
Lopino.
Lopino? Or look at Limbo?
Yeah, try some.
Oh, you're going low?
Yeah, low. Where low we going?
Look at Dimple though. Hey, this is my boss, man.
Yeah.
Mary, quite contrary. How does the garden grow?
Silver bells and cockle shells.
That's it. How does the garden grow?
Silver bells and cockle shells.
She didn't go to school in them days.
A pretty maid and a rose.
Well, you want it daughter then?
Yes.
You can't handle male.
What's that? You can't handle what?
Male.
Male?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, yeah, what is son on you?
Like good, I don't want that kind of son.
Well, take a female then.
No, I don't want that either. I'm good on my boy.
So you're straight.
Yeah, straight.
Rosetta? You could have fooled me.
Want to fool your own self?
Yeah, just looking at you.
Nice.
Alright.
Right.
The man who sits at the back regardless. Nurse!
Where is your...
Right? My boat.
Marine. Marine.
Ask the captain.
Ready lunch just for me.
Morning, Mama. I beg your pardon? My assistant Pierre told me I could bring it. I work with an assistant.
Oh, let's stop that. Let Mr. Ryan know. Mr. Ryan came for
I did his interview already. What do you mean? I go meet the bus in front. Where is Star Boy? Where is Star Boy? No, just shooting. Roxo.
Here comes the press.
Roxo. Are you depressed? You're not depressed?
No, I'm not.
And how your hair comes?
When I should have got you own picture.
I can do it now with you.
Very good.
How are you looking?
Good.
I'm feeling hot. This is the last bus, or we expect our next one? Somebody calling you here. Look up there. Nice bird.
And then the bus to come. By the time I experience with something.
I thought we didn't have men in this organization. Look a man, a new man.
Look a man.
Wow. Look at that smile. Wow.
Have a good day.
Wowie.
And come back safe. Take charge and take control of us in no other name but in Jesus' almighty name. Amen.
Hallelujah! Rastafari.
If you don't put me on no paper, how are you want to say your friend?
I'm not putting on paper, I'm putting on camera. Which one you prefer? You prefer?
I'm telling you. Jennifer, next trip is right.
Yeah, police and anyone is here.
Yeah. How much cars? Two. There are no deaths in it. If it had deaths, would have been newsworthy. Sociology. Sociology. It's about relationships, human relations. Lopino Street. Yeah, right now. Wait, let's go for your birthday, partner.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody will have to go to collect your death certificate.
Right.
You can't go for it on your own.
Right.
She don't get it, you know. She don't get it.
She get it.
At least.
Yeah. You can't go to take it on yourself.
That's what we talk about. Is either right or dead? Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, look them there.
In the back pass.
Why did you want in the back?
Next pass. I call it, listen.
This side of them?
Yeah, this side.
You left it up?
Pass it already. Too much of cheese, no force. from front.
I guess things like that again, I don't know because when I want to flip the people and then come on the water.
Only one partner, yeah, bro. Go back, fella, go back. Little was for me. You could call somebody? somebody do me a favor now. I want to go live.
How do you have to go live?
I will tell you what to do. Go on Facebook. Find Facebook there.
Yeah. How you opening your phone?
Something on the press.
Unlock pattern.
It's a L.
A L?
Yeah.
Same thing now.
Ding dong!
I go Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
And person might take coming out?
They're coming up. Facebook, and then what's on your mind? Hit what's on your mind.
Right, come up Facebook.
What's on your mind for me?
Yeah, press that.
And go somewhere say live. Let me see if I can hold it.
Put the selfie up. You'll get it in the way you want. Picture in there.
Watch me! I got sold!
Set up in tripod.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Take a big one. Bonks me now. You're not a joke anymore. Watch me. Watch me.
Oh, yes.
It's from the spine, and then it affects the nerves between the spine.
Could you interview with me?
Certainly learn my accent
And I was wrong. And I apologize. I said it was a little bit and she said yes, I didn't come. And they are about to pick up the granddaughter. We have to go inside. Well, I want you to stop holding. She still working. She retired. Hannah and I retired January last week. Oh, yeah. So not that. And you're parent yet? I have the original sheet. I'm going to that just now. This is what I wrote over.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Clifton. I see Auntie Yolan the morning for Stalin funeral down by the Anglican church.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I could go in there.
I will think so.
So now you look and you see him.
No, I was telling him. It's so true. It's so true.
All the extra when you go upstairs.
I think so.
For the records.
Yeah, I will think so.
No, I didn't see. No, we're not going to mind if I order
Watch me. I got souls.
Eh? You decide now. Serious. She didn't come first. Yeah. Ain't you know?
Because people's didn't have all those years ago, they didn't have the technology. So this is showcasing what would have been done with forest looking.
Excuse me.
You are not to record me, huh?
I'm not to record you?
No, not at all.
What to do then?
You could record, but not me.
Okay.
No, it's not at all. I don't know where your thing is going.
It's going live. It's going live right now.
It's the hammer play, yeah.
Is she working in?
Yes, she's a guide.
Ask her if I could do it. Can I do an interview with you? You don't have to show your face.
The chief is going to do a talk with you all. Oh. That's why I told you all that we are here early. And maybe some of you are offended.
No.
We are prepared for 10 o'clock. You're supposed to be seated, that's why all the chairs are. Oh. Chief will give a full lecture. Oh. Then you will. No, but it isn't ready because the whole line is there.
Okay, thank you very much.
So that is what is going to happen.
All right.
Yes, how can I do that? Thank you very much. Wait for us. We will reach down. You will not take like this. You will not take like this. But the process, yes, in place. And then it is woven. Technology of the foot. And you will sell this. Yeah, but you have to order. That could be about $300 to $400.
What currency?
TT, I guess.
$TT.
All right. But it's strong, but.
I recognize it. Right, let me get some captions here. cooking for? What's she cooking? Yeah? What's she Where is speaker will be talking from?
Most likely, right?
Maybe quite contrary.
I'm looking for a name Alam. So we're going to have maybe she this Alam I'll find this in your tour.
Yes.
From where?
From here? So what do I interview? From when she starts to when she arrives and then say what is expected. You ready?
Where did you start? Your sister first name? Yeah. No. I was looking for Alam and you know the first one.
Yeah, you go in first. Let me go back. Wait. Portfolio first.
Good morning all. I am Carl Ryan, chairman of TTARP San Fernando Purple Diamonds. We're here on our monthly outing. We left San Fernando approximately 8 o'clock and we arrived here about 9:30. Presently we are at the community for the first people and it's quite an interesting historical site. This is my first visit here, so I'm very impressed. There's a bit of a noise in the background because it's quite a large group. Persons are talking and sharing information and so on. But it's a privilege to be here. We're just waiting to get a sort of a historical account of the development of this community. Some of our members are using the washroom, and as soon as that task is completed, we would start the proceeding. I will introduce the chief to the crowd, and he would give the historical account. Not sure how long that will last, but at least we got here safely, and I'm pleased that we're back. So in the next few minutes, we should be able to start with just a few persons to introduce the washroom. And so, well, that's it for now. Until later.
Probably should have
So when Chief is speaking, sir, you can like
I could do, when the chief started, I could videotape.
Yes.
Alright, great. Not you, okay, cool.
I'm not the voice of the community.
Again.
So we could, after the presentation, you'll be allowed to mingle and put your stuff. Right?
Excuse me. What is the place in this now? Where the speaker will be.
Chief is
donate
Here.
or contribute
Okay, cool.
to this event, and asking to contribute generously, because we won't charge a fee, but the chief has agreed to accept the donation. So I will pass around this large bag. I'm passing around this large basket, right? Not too small. So could you get your money out, please? Everything more. Okay, we're about to start. What I'm going to do is just to introduce Chief Ricardo to give us a historical account of what this whole First People community is all about. I'm very pleased to be here because this is my first visit, and I'm sort of mystified by what I see already. So, before the chief starts, I will ask him to accept this small gift as a token of
Tell Carl go on the other side.
appreciation for the extending of his service to accommodate us. He went beyond the call of duty to accommodate us, and as you can see, it's a very large group. So I'm pleased that the chief has agreed to meet with us, taking time from his busy schedule. So on behalf of the TTARP Purple Diamond, I'm asking the chief to accept this small token. Thank you. And so this Chief Ricardo, who will tell us all about the historical account and of this project. So please pay keen attention. And if you can't pay attention, pay me. Thank you very much, President. So let me greet you all with one of our indigenous greetings, which is the Arawak or the Lopino language. And I say to you, Sato Morocco, which is good morning. And if I want to say good day, I will say Sato Kasakabo. Sato Kasakabo, good morning. Good day, good morning and good day. So you have learned, I believe, two greetings, one good morning, one good day. Sato Morocco and Sato Kasakabo, and then the Carinia greeting of welcome, Abrika. Okay, one more time, Sato Morocco, Sato Kasakabo, Abrika. Good, so welcome to this very small space for such a large group. So I am Ricardo Barrett Hernandez, Chief of the Santa Rosa First Peoples Community that is based here in Arima. So I will try in the short time that we have to give you a brief synopsis of the First Peoples. We cannot cover all the details, that is a course for months. Alright, in all the different aspects of the First Peoples. But
but a brief historical overview, so at least you will have some knowledge. I'm sure you will have some already, but you may not know some, so that will be added to what you already know, and to tell you how happy we are to receive you. It is not the first time we are having, how should I call it, a section of your organization visit. I think we have had the Arima chapter, if I should call it so, or the Arima section, and we have had another section from some other area. I cannot recall exactly, but certainly the group was not as large as this one, so I compliment you for that. I also want to compliment you on the time, because I was told 10 o'clock, and it was here way before 10, so that's good. So, okay, so we all in Trinidad would have heard or come across in some point in our lives about the First Peoples. Today we refer to it as First Peoples, which is relatively a new term for us here in Trinidad. Previously, you would hear about the Caribs and the Arawaks. You would hear about the Indigenous peoples, which all refer to the same set of peoples. The truth is that the Indigenous peoples, or those people who we call the Caribs and the Arawaks, and the Warao, which is basically based in the south area, they were the first inhabitants of this island we call Trinidad. They call it Kairi, or some people say Airi. I think you have Airi. So there is a little diversion in the pronunciation and the spelling, but it all means the same thing. And what it meant to the Indigenous peoples is the place, the island, or that space that is away from the mainland for them. Because these Indigenous peoples did not look at Trinidad as another country. They saw it as part of their own territory. They came from the mainland of South America, which is Venezuela, and they inhabited Trinidad. At different periods in time, different groups would have come. In the Indigenous or First Peoples community, there are several groups or nations of people. Just as we have Africa, but there are several tribes or different groupings of Africans. There in India, there are Indians, but there are several groupings of Indians. Similarly, in the Indigenous peoples, there are several groups. So the three main groups that, as I said, we would have heard about is the Caribs, the Arawaks, the Warao. But at the time of the encounter with Columbus, there were about 14 different tribes or nations. So some of them I will call the Shagwanis. To our tribe, then we have Shagwanas. The Kuyus, another nation, mostly what inhabited our area. The Tamanakogotos, another group. Tamana, so you have Taman. Then of course you have the Yaos, the Shebayos, and all these are different nations that came at different times. So the Indigenous peoples. So they all came from the mainland, Venezuela, Guyana, as far as Colombia. They came across and they had it. And then they came across Trinidad at that time freely. Alright, this is just in the colonial period, the late colonial period, when we started to have restrictions. Then you had to have things like passport, and you had borders, and then they couldn't come in. San Fernando, where you came from, was a very populated by the Indigenous peoples. There are several sites in San Fernando where they are finding the remains of the Indigenous peoples, both their artifacts in terms of the pottery and in terms of the even some human remains. San Fernando Hill is a very sacred site of the Indigenous people. Anaparima. And here I want to make a plug to you, San Fernandians. I heard recently, I am diverting a little bit. I heard recently, but I don't have another opportunity like this, that a former mayor of San Fernando died, Mr. Mutu. Some of you might have known Mr. Mutu. And obviously he was a great man, because from what I heard and the readings and so on, he did a lot for San Fernando. And he was also responsible for them not to further desecrate the hill. As a result of that, some senator made a proposal that they should name the San Fernando Hill after him. But we as indigenous people don't like it. Right? And if it come up for public discussion, I hope you will support us. I'll tell you why. We are trying to keep the indigenous and all other peoples in Trinidad culture alive. So they are now changing from the colonial period to the present. And the Naparima Hill, because it is such an important landmark of the first peoples with so much history, we should not change. We should leave the name Naparima.
Yep, yeah.
If we want to honor Mr. Mutu, we can build his monument. Yeah. We can name something else, a building or something after him.
A street.
For his contribution, but not the San Fernando. Alright? So I'm appealing to you if it comes up for public discussion, which I believe it will. I hope that you all will support us.
Yes.
So let's continue with indigenous people. So all the indigenous peoples first occupy the coastline of Trinidad. Some to the north, some to the south, some to the northeast. Depending on which area they came from the mainland, they would have said. The Waras mostly from south, the southern peninsula, right? And after a period of time, they came inland gradually. So then they would have settled the east-west corridor. Port of Spain, there was a village. Hence the reason that the Red House is built on the remains of an indigenous nation. They found a set of human remains, a lot of artifacts belonging to the indigenous people. And there was a time when a former Prime Minister, Mr. Manning, wanted to move the seat of Parliament from the Red House to another location. And people couldn't understand because he never gave the reason why. People couldn't understand why he wants to move this. This is historical. Parliament has been here all the time. But he knew what was underneath it. He knew it. Right? So they wanted to make that as a historical building and move the Parliament. But he got some opposition and it stayed there and so on. He passed on and so on. Now we have discovered all that it is about cemetery. All the human remains. Yeah. When they were renovating and they found some of it, they told us, and we recommended that whatever they get in the form of human remains should be reburied. The artifacts such as the pottery, the beads, the shells, these things could be displayed. But we don't want our ancestors' human remains being displayed in glass cases and so on. So they adhered to our request, and a big space was allocated. And with ceremonial, indigenous ceremonies, we reburied the human remains. So that is at the north side of the Red House. And we propose sometime in the future when the resources become available to put a monument of those peoples. Alright? Now the people in Arima today is looked at as the home of the indigenous people, but actually Arima is probably one of the last places that the indigenous peoples would have said. Because when the Spanish took control of Trinidad, they set up things that are called encomiendas. Do you know what an encomienda is? It is a system of governance whereby they would reward some individual from Spain with land. And together with land, they have to give him resources, human resources and other things. And the only human resource they had at the time were the Amerindians. So they gave them a bunch of Amerindians. Right? And these Amerindians were to work the land, to plant the fields, to take care of the encomienda buildings and whatever. So that was the Spanish system of governance. We have, similar to what we may have today as a town council, the borough council, the city council and so on. We didn't have those things, so they had these encomiendas. And in those encomiendas had, of course, people, the Amerindians. So there were three main encomiendas in the east-west corridor. One was at Cora, the Cora Valley, which was the mecca or the hub of indigenous activity at one time. Today it is almost desolate. And then we had Arauca, another encomienda, which we call Aruca today. And then we had Tacarigua, which still, the names are still there. But the people now were brought in the 1700s, they removed them from those areas, That is when they were opening up Trinidad under the scheduler of population. What does that mean? When they were bringing in now the islanders, people from other islands, to populate Trinidad for development and growth and so on. So they gave them those spaces because those spaces had already been developed to a certain extent with the agriculture, which was the economy at the time. And they took the Amerindians and they brought them to Arima in virgin territory. All right? And that happened in the 1700s, the first instance 1750s, and then 1780s. And when they disbanded the encomiendas, they had mission towns. So Santa Rosa was a mission town. Siparia was a mission town. Tortuga, and all these places, mission towns. Arima was the last mission town, yes. And the Spanish, because it was Catholic, predominantly Catholic, the religion, all when they set up missions, they put a patron saint. So in Arima, it was Santa Rosa. So that's how come the Santa Rosa mission. And so the Amerindians occupied that. And then, of course, gradually, as other peoples came in and other peoples came in to work the estates and so on, they mixed. And today we don't have a pure Amerindian population, but we have the descendants of those original peoples. And in later times, others came and mixed with them and so on. But Arima was the only place that held on to the traditions of the indigenous people. Not all of it either, because a lot has been lost over time, but some of it in the form of the food, in the form of the craft, in the form of some of the music and dance and the spirituality and so on. We have held on to it. And since the 1970s, we have been advocating for recognition. And it was in the 1970s that a group, again, got a second life, if I should say that. Because under the period of the British and certain period of the Spanish, they were very docile and the dominance of the colonial powers kept them suppressed. So you hardly heard about them. Some people even wrote that they disappeared and they no longer exist, but that was not true. All right? And so as a result of that, we started to advocate and to get like a second life. From the 1970s. It has taken us to this point. So we have this little center here. It is small. It has outgrown its space and its use. So we have a petition government for land. And so we got 25 acres of land, which is about 1.5 miles from here, on a hill, on the hills, where we are establishing a traditional indigenous village. So that when you go there, you can get first-hand experience of how they live, how they prepare their food, see them doing their craft, see the medicinal plants for those who can walk in the tours and so on, and more space, more breeze, more nature connected than being enclosed in this space. So that is what we are about. We have come quite a long way from being invisible to being more visible today, and the authorities are giving us some attention. Of course, not as fast and as much as we would like, but we understand these things take time, the development. But I must say that we are moving on. We are moving on gradually, and laying the foundation for those who will come behind, so that Trinidad can be proud of all the cultures that occupy our space, and all who have made a contribution towards the development as well, starting with the first peoples and ending with whoever was the last to inhabit. All right, all together making us such unique people and diverse, unique, and rich with our culture. All right, so basically the group, as I said, were brought under the Christianity to the Catholic religion, but today people being more educated and open up to society, that has diminished somewhat. The core group is still there with the Catholic and the Santa Rosa Festival, but people are now understanding that their true spirituality is greater than that. And they are now more into their own spirituality and doing things that will identify them as the people and the descendants of that particular culture. All right? So I have said that. I hope you have understood. There's plenty to talk about. If you go and talk about food, that's a process for itself. If you go and talk about traditional garb, wearing, that's another thing for itself. Spirituality, oh, that will go on and on to understand. Some people say that our spirituality is pagan and it is not Christian, and so they don't want to identify with us. But when they understand what is nature, then they understand what is God and what is true spirituality. Yeah? So we don't want to realize that subject for itself and very controversial. Because if you are dead fast as a Christian, you don't want to hear nothing about that. Right? But I always find something in the Bible to compare with our belief. And they have to stop and think. How do you think Jesus, I don't like to talk about it because how do you think Jesus was able to perform all these miracles and do what he did in the Bible says? Just because they say he was the Son of God? No. And he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Why? To get a power. To get a power in order to do those things. And the indigenous spirituality is based on fasting and prayer and developing that power to achieve different things. So when you compare them, they're about the same, right? But just we have control by different periods, different governments, times, they have us in a kind of way, you know? But let's leave that alone for the moment. Question. I'll move the question. We have recently, before you ask your questions, the National Trust of Trinidad and some archaeologists from Leiden University in the Netherlands put on that small exhibition out there. And that exhibition shows a collection of pieces and information about different indigenous communities in the Caribbean, including Suriname and Guyana and so on. So when you finish it, you can have a little look. Just be careful with the door because you we cannot open that side because something is wrong with the lock, otherwise I would have opened that side to get a little more breeze. So just be careful and be safe. Alright? And as you started before, we have some craft. Those of you who are interested in it. So thank you very much. I'm open to questions because I know I couldn't cover everything in this one. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Yes, there's one.
What is a basic meal that you all have?
A basic meal today or then?
Well,
then. So a basic Amerindian meal would be, and before I say that, I was asked that if we could prepare lunch for you all, but we couldn't handle it because we're involved in so many things. So I think after here you'll be going to Lopino, and my friends there, they have indigenous descent. Where you're going? So I'm Rosa to have lunch, yes. So we work together all the time. But a basic Amerindian lunch would be, you know, the staple food of the Amerindians for these parts is what? Cassava. Next to that is corn. Alright? So all the foods that are made from cassava and corn would be indigenous. Not, we have some modern dishes made from that today, which they didn't make. So what they made with the cassava? Mainly they use bitter cassava. There are two types of cassava. Bitter cassava, which is poisonous, and sweet cassava, which is sweet cassava. They use mainly the bitter cassava, the poisonous cassava. They didn't die.
Why?
Because at that time, what was prominent was mainly bitter cassava. Is as we went along, they started developing different strains. They had sweet cassava then, but not as today. And because so many people died because they didn't know how to use it, a lot of people stopped using it and got rid of it, especially for modern generations and so. But the bitter cassava is processed like this. So you harvest the cassava, the tuber, the root, and they would scrape it. Scrape it, scrape it. In the first instance, they scrape all what we would peel, they scrape, right? And then they wash it. And then it's grated. And then it is put through the matepi or the couler, which is outside, which is a long basket. Alright? And it's put in there, and it's pressed, and the poisonous juice comes out. But you have to dry it properly. And then the meal that is left is used to make the bread, the cassava bread, which is a flat tin wafer. And it's hard and dry. And the reason for that is that it can last for months. When you want it, if you don't have teeth, once any liquid hits it, any liquid, it gets very soft. Right? So So if you have good teeth, I have some good and some not so good. So if you have good teeth and it's hard, you have to soak it to damage it. But the reason for that is that it can last. Once it's well dry, it lasts for months. Secure. Because they didn't bake every day. Now if you want a soft, nice one like a roti, you bake it soft and you eat it today and you eat it tomorrow. After that it becomes so that's the basic food of the Americans. And they ate that bread with the pepper pot, or what we call in Trinidad catacura. Because again of the Spanish influence, most of our indigenous traditions are given a Spanish flavor. So we in Trinidad call that pepper pot, famous in Guyana, catacura, Spanish base. So the water is boiled over fire, slow fire, over a period of time. And through the boiling, again the poison is eliminated from the water. And that thing comes sweet as molasses. But in the end, you're going to put your meat, and this mainly the meat is the wild game of the forest, deer, agouti, lap, and so on. But they were hunters, and they would put out in the end flavors with pepper and different seasoning and so, and that was the main food. Some would put fish in it. So apart from that, you had corn, and usually what they make today what we call arepa or empanada, these things. Not so much the empanada because they didn't use too much oil, so they make like a bake out of the corn and roast it on the baking stone, and today the Spanish call that arepa. So that is the food. Together with some ground provisions such as certain yams. Today we have different varieties of yam, but they had about 2 or 3 varieties. And ground provision, fruits, you know what was available at that time, certain fruits. And that's basically the Amerindian meat. The barbecue, the famous barbecue that we have today, came from bucanin, which was the meat that was just smoked on fire to help it to preserve, right? Because they don't have refrigerators and so on. So today we have developed a nice sauce, and we add to that smoked meat, and we have barbecue. So barbecue is a basic thing, it's a progression or improvement from that time.
I was hearing raw cassava is healthy. I was telling my husband that yesterday, like when you chew, you eat raw cassava, it's supposed to have really health and nutrients.
Well, yes, well, no, I think I saw that too. Now with all the modernity and all the science and all the development, we are finding other ways, they are finding other ways to use these things.
It's good, I find it's good.
But make sure it's sweet cassava.
No.
Because if it's bitter, but you hardly will get bitter cassava in the market now. You know? There's only people like our community that still plant, because it also makes a better product than the sweet cassava. In terms of the bread, farine. Yes. Farine. It's the same thing that is made into that cereal. Those are a nice farine, with a nice saltfish or a nice fish gravy and a piece of avocado. A good one. But that is difficult for people like you. The farmers, the people who are in it can do that. But for an ordinary person to go in, if I describe it to you, it will make sense, because you have to be in it to know what is the challenge.
The cassava is not more brown, darker than this.
You have the same varieties, because you know in sweet cassava you have different varieties. You have the same thing in bitter cassava, you have different varieties. So you have to know. Mine from the Nipoyo. The Nipoyo is believed to be a mixed indigenous race. Mixed indigenous race in that they mix with the Arawaks, the Caribs, the Waraos, and maybe some other nation. Because we have the records of the people who were Indian commanders who were brought to Arena. And when you look at it, they have their names, of course they have Spanish names, they have where they came from and their nation. So in there you have Lopino, which is Arawak, you have Cariña, which is Carib, you have Waraos. You even had some Chinese. There is another nation named known as Chinese. But that one, I think it is one out completely. Well, I am of mixed race. I'm of mixed race. I have the indigenous, but I also have East Indian and Afro-Trinidadian.
Douglas?
She came from
Chief, you keep mentioning Warao, but I'm familiar with the term Warahoon.
That's a term. You know, it's so hard. You don't want somebody and they don't want to kill you. Simple. If it's an Indian and they say a coolie, right? So Warao is the proper thing, Warahoon is the one to bring it up.
Looking at the traditions and the young people. First, what's the population roughly of the group? And what about the young people? Are they following the traditions?
So the population for Arima and environs is roughly about 2,000. Not everybody is active, as in everything else. When you go to places like Lopino, La Pastora, there is another section of them. When you go to places like Tamana, you will get another little grouping. So over the whole country, we'll say it's about 10 to 12,000. The young people, yes and no. When you have large festivals, and we have visitors like from Guyana, Suriname, the United States of Indigenous people, because they bring along young people, and you have those things, you find our young people also showing some interest because they are seeing people of their age. So I can say yes, they show interest, but again, it is not as rigid and as forceful as we would like. But again, we have some consolation because I also know that in the other two major ethnic groups in the country, the East Indians and the Afro, they also have the same concern, that their young people are not following as they would like to. And that we can understand that is because of modernity, that is because of the technology, that is because of all the different things that they are competing with today, so that you don't find it as rigid as you would like. But yes, we do have interest from them.
I know you mentioned a couple of phrases from well, I'm looking at the language. Like for Patwa, for instance, a lot of people no longer speak, but the older ones would know the Patwa, but not the rest. Do you have that same issue? Do you know the languages within your groups?
No, we just know the Lopino greetings and some items to describe certain things. It's not a conversational language. They cannot speak it as you're talking English or Spanish. So we are making effort. From time to time we will have classes with teachers who still from the mainland, who still speak the language, to conduct those classes.
Now, Chief, you mentioned there are various sectors throughout Trinidad. Does each sector have a leader and a chief, or you are the main person? And do you communicate and collaborate with each other?
Okay, well, Santa Rosa is the main group, is the group that has received the greatest recognition by the authorities because of our history and what we are doing, the things that we are currently doing, and so the other groups came about long after the 1970s when we started to agitate. They came in recent times. So for instance, there's a group in San Fernando, and there is a guy, I don't know if you know him by the name of Ravina Shah, who started to represent the Warao. And he started with a small group of 2 or 3 people to represent the Warao community. And then you had others coming. But they, how to put it, they are not, I don't know what right word to use, they are not as organized, and they have a lot of divisions among themselves. A lot of division. There is a group in Arima that another group, but it is not a community like Santa Rosa. They have come on as an NGO, advocating to do research on different things. So it's not like a community group either. Yes, we have tried to get together, to work together, but we can't. Because their philosophy and their ideas of the way you go forward and doing things do not mesh with Santa Rosa. As a result, we cannot be work together to be tinted in the same brush or painted with the same brush. And, everybody sing together because they have some very radical ways that they want to go about things, and we feel that that is not the way to go. And that is simply what it is.
So the land that was gifted to you all will be just for Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa, first
So the others would not.
yes. Let me give you an idea. Because this is the only way you people know and they learn. So the group in South that started the representation of the water. So they know that San Fernando is a secret to the water. So they're going about it that they're asking the government. They want to hear. We want San Fernando. 2 or 3 people, a handful of. We want San Fernando Hills because that is sacred to our ancestors and sacred to our. That is an impossibility. How today you're going to come and ask the authorities for San Fernando? I told him, the leader said, look, ask for a space and ask for a lot of 2 lots. Put up something there that will reflect Warram and Indigenous. Better way in it. We don't want that. They want the whole I must give you an idea of the people so that you will understand why we cannot do. So that is one. The other one is the whole of the southern peninsula belongs to Warram. We want the southern peninsula. So, and the question is, so the people who are living in what are you going to do that? Throw them in sea. And these are just 2 examples why we cannot identify. Because Trinidad is not the same Trinidad 500-600 years ago. It's inhabited by all people. All of us here, we are born here, and we are right here.
That's right.
Right? So recognize your space and build from that like we have been doing. They don't want that. They say we settle for handout. We get 25 acres and we settle for that. Nothing. And they will get nothing.
What about intermarriage? Is it frequent and would it affect the size of the tribe?
Well, you have had intermarriages from the time of the Indigenous themselves. That is a thing. And for today, with the society today, it's even more. You can't do anything for them. Because even when the indigenous peoples were only indigenous peoples, they intermarried among themselves. They had problems, but they intermarried. Right? Among the nations. It was not supposed to be so because each nation tried to keep the nation as pure as they could. But there's a thing you cannot get people crossing. And today, as you have all different kinds of people, all kinds of people. Right? So that you cannot do anything to
You do Glarizing too?
Long time. There was a, let me give you an next example as you come to that. The one in Arima fight me all the time. Because he say your name is Barat. He's an Indian. Right? So you see where he coming from? Yes, my name is Bharat, my father's name was Bharat. But I resemble more Indian than my father. If you see my father's picture, you will never see any trace of Indian. Right? And my mother was Hernandez. Now my mother came from direct from the Indigenous, from the first settlers of Arima. We have all the documents and trace it. And my father is also a mix. Yes, he has in East India, so yes, he has the name Bharat, but he's mixed. He's Indian, a little Warram, a little all kind of mixed. There was a Carib queen who reigned in the early 1800s. Her name was Dolores Medrano McDavid. You know, I'm not Indian. Right? But you know what was the name she was known by? This is the 1800s again. You know what is the name she was known by? Popular name? Ma Gopal. Everybody knows. What is the name of Gopal? What name is that? You ask your question, how come she is Ma Gopal? Because she married, and I'm telling you how it is written in the book, in the record. She married a Bong Kuli.
Yeah. Like that.
a bomb pulling from Calcutta. That is written, you know. That is how they used to call East Indians, coolies. Right? So that is written there. So imagine what her children would be. Exactly. You understand? So when you come into me in this 1900 and telling me about my name, don't watch at names. There is a chief, I was just reminded the other day, there is a chief in the United States of one of those American Indian nations who said, and help me, they were asking the same question about blood, purity of blood and quantum of blood and all that. And some people, if you don't look 100% Amerindian, they say you're not Amerindian. But he said
that he has seen people who might have 1/500 of Amerindian blood. And they are more dedicated to their ethnic group than a person who says that they are full blood.
You understand what that is? So a person who has a little percentage of blood soul is more committed to seeing the preservation of that culture than somebody who looks 100%. They don't care. So you don't go by names and looks and all that. So that is it. Question?
Chief.
Yes, one here. Let me.
What about Carrie Queen?
Yes.
When I was growing up, I used to hear about the Carrie Queen, but I no longer hear.
Yes. Okay, so since you touched on that, let me tell you the history of the Carrie Queen. So the communities were ruled by chiefs, male figures. But that is not to say that the women, they always had elderly persons who were well respected. For instance, the mother of the chief was very special and well respected. They also had female shamans or people of religious knowledge that was respected. So it was ruled by a chief. How the institution of the Carib Queen came about, how that started, is in a Rima. When they set up the mission of Santa Rosa, they found for the festival of Santa Rosa, which was a feast of the Catholic Church, was changed into a festival of the Indigenous people. They had a month celebration. And you had, because it was a saint, and you had different activities, and women more prominent, and so the lead person in that was a female. The men had their duties, yes, and the person in control of them was the king or the chief. The same chief is the same person called king. The Spanish referred to it as a king, the king of the Indigenous. So when the priest took responsibility of the mission, he in a way usurped the authority of the chief. Because before the church, before the priest, you had the village and you had the chief exercising the authority with his council, what work they had to do, what roads they had to clean and build, what areas for plots for planting, what areas for family, and so on. So the chief was in control. But when the church took the mission, the priest gradually took all those responsibilities, and the role of the chief died over time. Had no longer that significance. But the woman had significance because she was in charge now of the festival of Santa Rosa. And so the priest and the church bestowed upon her the title of Carib Queen. And from that time, the 1800s, we had Carib Queens. We still have them, but again it's changed because the role now of the Queen is not so much as the role that I play as chief today, because we have come out from that dominance and that invisibility to, so now you need somebody now to interact with government, to interact with different agencies, that side of it. So I do most of that as the chief, and the Queen still will oversee aspects of the festival and so on.
But how is she chosen?
Well, there are two ways. Either a child of the Queen could take her place if that person has the ability and the qualities that they're looking for to carry on. If not, she could also name a successor from somebody for the community with those qualities. And if none of that exists, then at the passing of the Queen, the community comes together and they will choose among them somebody.
Who is the present Carib Queen?
Nona Lopez Aquan. She lives she lived for quite a few years in New York, so she was just trying to wrap up her business there to come back here. She hasn't been successful that, thus up to now, but she comes often. as frequent as you can, and go back until she can settle in.
Could you repeat her name again for me, please?
Nona Lopez Aqua.
Who will carry on this historical legacy?
Who will carry on the story?
Yes.
Well, I
hope. When you are not around now.
Well, I can't answer because I hope that the community that is active now will carry it on, and they will keep someone or somebody with word, because that is a frequent question and it is a valid question. But I always reflect upon the last chief that we had was several years ago. So there was a period when you didn't have a chief, you just had a queen. And the community was not as vibrant as it is today. But yet still you had more indigenous people then than you have now. You understand? So there was a whole period of decline, you know, and then emerged somebody like myself to bring it back. So I always believe personally that depends on the Great Spirit and His movement. But people always want to know, well, who after? Who next? Who after?
Yes, Jane.
Yes.
First of all, let me congratulate you and the community for the achievement of your water supply.
Rock soup.
And also, now you mentioned several groups. Are you all separated along tribal lines, or is it one line, or is there a difference in the bloodline? And is there a history of war between the various groups?
Yes. Okay, well, the first part of your question, are we separated by bloodline? What do you mean in the different groups? The different indigenous groups present today or from way back?
Well, today, because I'm not sure about way back. But I'm wondering why the separation.
Today?
Yeah,
today.
If it is.
Well, as I said, it is because of their philosophy and how they want to pursue their advancement. It doesn't mesh with ours. It's not so much blood, but it is more the ideas and how they want to approach it. That is what it is.
So really there could have been one
yes.
national group.
Yes. You have a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a famous talk show host. She's also a university lecturer. She's always on social media. She's not a Douglas. Well, she's not a Akuli. She's not a Negro. But she carries the name Barrett. How do you account for that?
I don't know. Are you married? Her father is the Barrett. Well, I'm hearing now that her father is the Barrett. So you see that? And she don't show any she don't show any features.
Atala.
Yeah. Classic case, a classic case.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now we know.
Yes. My duties?
Just a little briefing on idea, like what you actually do to,
Okay, so I will come to you, but I will just remind you that we still, to finish off the name issue. Apart from the East Indians who have retained a greater portion of their culture in naming their people their names, most of the other people have English names. And they don't have no English blood, I don't think. So some of my duties, so my responsibility is really working towards keeping the community together. Like for instance, every month we're supposed to have meetings, community meetings. I will carry on the meetings, I will chair the meetings and so on for a host of different things. Responsibilities interacting with government, different government agencies, doing lectures like what I'm doing now. Now that we have the village on stream, interacting with different NGOs to contribute to the development of the village. Example, we have Habitat for Humanity working with us, so we have to interact with them. We have another agency to come on board, interacting with them, doing that kind of doing interviews, speaking at different events. For example, today there are two activities for me this evening. The Medical Association is inaugurated a new president today at a function in Salibia. I am expected, I was invited to go and to deliver the opening prayer and song and remarks. So that is one. And following that, I have to come down to UE because the principal of UE will be inaugurated and also to attend to that event. So these are some of the overseeing all the work on the village, all that has to be done. And
well, I want to add that part of chief duties is the establishment of an administrative office. And he has to oversee that office. And from it, the projects are interfacing with government, with the authorities who are congratulated on the water. They didn't just come in and put the water. There was a whole level of negotiation and so on that had to be done. And earlier on, I heard somebody asking about legacy. Well, part of the legacy is not just an immediate person after, but chief have to oversee all the documenting of everything that we do, so that a person could come in and learn about it, and whoever will take over the leadership will be seeing what went on before. So we are very much into documenting, and part of operating the museum and what goes there is part of ensuring the legacy is continued.
So Ms. Delcia here, Roberts, I don't know if she was properly introduced, but she is our administrative officer. We have a small office with a staff of about 6 persons. That is every day. So she's the administrative officer for the office. Right?
Yes. Just a quick question. A couple of years ago, you had a one-off, but I call it a one-off because that's what it was called, public holiday. Are you all going to have are you going to be asking for a holiday? And in terms of the persons who came down on that day, do you have any idea, just a quick idea of whether in these other countries, Suriname, etc., if they are large groups, I mean, are they in the same structure as here, or are they more together, so to speak?
Yeah. All right, so on the issue of the holiday, we felt in our work as we go along that we needed a level of recognition by the country. Because a lot of people you meet say, well, I don't know this, I don't know you all exist, I don't know this, I don't know this, I don't know. So in order to get that kind of recognition, we felt that the only way was a holiday, a national holiday that the whole country would stop and reflect upon why we have a holiday and learn something from it. I think we asked for a one-off. It's not that the government gave us, but we asked for a one-off because for more than one reasons. We felt that a one-off was easier to get in a short space of time than a permanent holiday. That was one. And we did get it, and it did bring about a sort of a recognition. Since then to now, we didn't want a holiday where people would just have a holiday and they go by the beach, they get at 12 o'clock, they get at 1 o'clock, and they're happy like to work and all that. We wanted a holiday where we could get the participation of, if not all, but most of the people. So we felt that might have been hard to accomplish. But seeing where we came from, and today we felt that there was a need for a holiday. Because if our day of recognition falls on a weekday, we are just talking and to ourselves. We have a small group of people that will go do our activities and programs, school children in school, parliamentarians in the parliament arguing and not paying attention to us. Other people doing their work and so on. So you're not getting that kind of thing. So we have recognized that a permanent holiday is needed. We have requested it, we have asked for it, we don't know what will be the outcome. And the other reason why we didn't want it because we felt that we had too many holidays in the country already. But then what made me change my mind, I will tell you. I will tell you what made me change my mind from that concept of too many holidays. COVID. Something that came on us, COVID, and shut down the country for how long? Almost 2 years. And how much did we lose? How many people lost their jobs? And all that it caused, I felt that a public holiday every year will not cause that kind of. So there we are. So I hope that if we have come to an end to the questions, we still have those who didn't get a chance to see the fast. We still have we have some cassava bread and stale for those who want to try it. And you're free to view outside here and see a little more of the exhibition. Right?
Okay. Just a minute, please.
Where was based?
First of all, I encourage persons to wear their mask, especially those of us who have a little flu or whatever. Please wear your mask. Okay. I would, on behalf of the group, I would like to thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to give us such a historic account of the development of the first people. And so I think the chief deserves another round of applause. And on behalf of the group, which has given so generously, we ask you to accept this contribution for the development of your community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there are articles and trinkets on sale, so we can mill around and purchase generously.
You kick me? I don't go. I didn't feel it. What happened? I'm tired. Was she hiding? She Facebook. Not smile or something. Not that grin. Don't forget I'm your lawyer, eh? Watch me, I got soul. Soul. Watch me, I got soul. Rock so.
Inside there.
I know they have a nice river down there, because I'm going to take a look. But boy, everything changed up here.
Look on camera.
Hello?
That's one of the old times cameras, eh? This is one of the old time cameras. This is a new camera? It's a heavy loaded one.
He was a slave master. Are you alive? So hung there.
Wait.
Look at him, what's a burden. When you see that country, you see your that's a burden. Thing around the dirt house.
Hollis?
I have a napkin here.
Right. Alright, how our next fella guy?
hiding over there, so he must be talking to those. Well, you come fast. And what is that?
this
building
was
the light
Jane.
that told them on the old thing?
Anytime you're ready.
Who live here? What is this building about?
Eh, call them back, call them back. Do I? Do I? Do I?
We can all go so and they can talk from there.
Alright, no problem.
I'm going to talk to you. That's the
There's the cocoa house.
Yeah, no, leave us in the stand, man.
It's okay.
Sound right, wait and you say everything one time.
So they used to dance the cocoa up there?
Wow, wow, wow.
There was an pandemic. Because of pandemic, it changed from forestry to tourism.
Yeah. So everything inside are gone?
Yeah, so right now they're trying to think it over together.
Oh, there, what is it up here? Getting green?
Where's the tree?
There's the tree there?
Yeah, but those not the original tree. The tree was here to break down about.
On the side? When you have come by the community center, yeah, and so there's an Indian man, and they sell food in some country. It was how much? 19 women, 19 men and 30 women. And
Oh, I know that story. They're on the street.
all right.
Those toilets functioning?
It worked in here, but I don't think that's sanitary.
Okay, I just asked you.
Everybody, it's Jabari Hazel, and this is Dwight Moran.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a quick run through history background on the historical site and on how it been found and where it been found and why he was enslaving people to the land and whatnot and thing count itself. Okay, now this place back then was found in the early 80s, long time ago. Okay? Now the Conch Lopino, he came up the river, that river where we are going to take you all to see just now in a while. But the river back then was a little wider, so he came up the river with he and his dog, which part he literally come to this place here and he realizes a nice estate. Long time they used to plant things like cocoa and cane and these type of stuff, more like ground food and these things, right? So which part at the moment, at the time, the Conch he saw up here, and at that point of time, he was a very powerful man, meaning he had links all over. So he decided to open up this place called Lopino after his last name, and he said he's going to work the land for cocoa.
Just a minute. What year are you looking at?
Huh?
What year are you looking at?
In the early 80s, close to the late 70s. We are talking about here. We could be further back.
1800
yeah,
and something.
1800. Yeah, that is what I mean. Oh. Okay, so back then, at that point of time, where he got over 200 slaves to come up here and work, certain slaves will maybe betray him and whatnot and thing. So they maybe, well, as they say to me, they've been hung right here on this tree long time. This exact tree grew back the same way. Actually, it was a next tree, but this tree grew the same way they said when they planted back in the same structure. So
what was the name of the tree and what's the name of this one now?
This is the cashew tree.
Oh.
And when it bears cashew, the blood of it, the cashew is so red that they say long time that was the blood of the slaves inside the cashew. Okay. You know, so long time, that is how the place discovered. So if you could look over there, that is a demonstration of the long time jail, which party used to keep the prisoners. Now it had many of those around, you understand, but long time back then, as they say, he wouldn't build plenty of those. They used to keep like about approximately 25 of them in one section of there. So what you're going to see here is which a cocoa house. Now the whole top of that cocoa house is literally pushed out, forward and backwards, giving the cocoa air, and the slaves long time, they may be and go up there and they will dance the cocoa to a song what played by one of the next slave. So that is where we lead on to more of these things over and over. You understand? And now these days it's really rare to find somebody who can dance the cocoa. Yes.
Dance, try it. Try it without cocoa, let me see.
You need a soca tune.
We are going to lead back on. Yeah, we are going to lead back on to that. So,
they want to move.
Or local slaves.
No, he was Jewish.
So he's guys live from where?
From Israel and those places. Black people at them time, and they say, you know how it used to go. They had no kind of, no kind of play which is wrong. You understand? So that is, he was a white man though.
Okay, man.
Yeah, he was a white man. Yeah, he was a French. Okay, so where we're going to lead on now is we're going to go down by the river. We're going to show you all the river and maybe pass back inside the cemetery so you all could see the Kong's grave and which part they bury him and his dog. Okay?
Your hair grave and it's alright. Steps, eh? It's rough and narrow, eh? So, holy rail. Hey. I thought you let me pass. I want to be near to the speaker.
You going to need food or what?
Or what?
I would have been long there.
You want parsad or what? Let me go in front of you, please. Up here or one side? To go in front of you.
So his bird still coming.
I'll do in front of you.
Yeah, come here.
I know that tune, boy.
It's a nice tune.
That pretty? You doing what you have to do? Look on there. Yeah. Same for what? I taking what is given to me. Let's see that.
When the All of the foundation said respect that. Some little entertainer, what is the matter with them? Them do a one song which is split up a top. I can beat it like it goes like a them. Yes, I will. I think of you up here. Respect and them no good. Them original. All of them. There is this solution. Think them on them. You people like them want this respect. Let's say you want one.
Now what is that?
And then it's big enough to go back down.
That way.
Where we going now?
That way. But we will wait for the others to come.
Alright, let me check the river there. This is a river or canal?
Yeah,
With a combination of river and canal.
Sorry?
It's a river or a canal?
So it's actually a river. It used to be very big long time, but flood upon flood caused it to become like this. So you know, little, yeah. There's actually spring water.
Spring.
Yeah. Filters, as scientists said, it filters like approximately every 10 seconds with the amount of stones and yeah.
So when spring done, you get summer?
Yeah.
Summer water?
Yeah.
Summer water colder or warmer?
Yeah, going live with the people watching.
Yeah, man.
You see people watching?
Mm-hmm. That's nice. Very good.
Yeah.
All over the world.
They ask you where you is yet. They ask you where you is yet.
They make any remarks? Or they praising me?
Oh.
They say that'll be all over the place.
Yes, we got to be following you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I find so.
I'm my wife here.
Oh, there you are.
No.
I don't be following you.
I be outside, man.
Stay with your wife.
What's the key back?
If I had a towel.
You bunk for a towel?
Yes.
Nobody watching?
I had to dry off.
You could just jump up.
No. I can't be wet going down the road.
What's now?
So wait, I have a small towel.
Yes, very high.
It's a tissue you could use, man. I one of our vehicles. I one of the vehicles we came in. All of them in the same color. Green, all of ours?
Yes, two is green and one is black. Yes, we can come with 20 people so like a couple of
Where you getting that drink? Where you getting that drink?
This is the crest here, as you can see. This whole thing. Up there it goes a mile down there, it goes back a mile and probably more. No, and we're not going that way, but we're going to this way. Huh? This road take you to the top of the mountain, what called Cantamore, where farmers just plant and do these different things and come there and make them with money and whatever and stuff. So yeah. Huh? Yeah, spring water. Yeah, filtered every 10 minutes. That is what scientists want to come and test the water. Yeah, you could. Yeah, back then we used to drink. Before we had water in houses up here, we get everything late up here back then. So outside there, the people already had water. I remember my grandmother sending me for water, throwing me in the river with all the clothes to wash. Yeah, it wasn't easy back then as a kid growing up, but it was good. It was a good experience. Yeah, I happy that I experienced that part of my life. So, you know?
Yeah, but you don't hear no time.
Yeah, I don't know. I born and grew up here. Yeah, my mother grew up here. My mother is a Spanish. My grandmother is a Spanish who literally came here back then. She's still alive. She's actually 103 years.
Wow.
Yeah, she's up there.
Where? Up there? Where she living? Where she living?
She's living higher up the road. And my grandpa, he died about 5 years ago. He died at 101. Yeah, he was
how much you expect to make?
To me, well, I guess God might have the same thing in store for me as it runs through the deep.
With the secret?
Plenty ground food.
Ground food?
Yeah, plenty ground
Cassava.
Yes. Alright, so what we going to see now, we're going to collect to the concave, and after, to the concave, the concave, and I'll give all a history background on the Martin Gomez cave while we are there. So all you can just follow
the Count of Monte Carlo?
Yeah, we pass it
So far from eating mainstream.
Hard. That man only hold mountain and take one man.
Really?
Yeah. Up there, up in this land. Carry this land. 99 years, this something.
You have a court out here?
Yeah, basketball court, Savannah. A vehicle is coming. Alright. Just up down.
Yeah, it's a really small hole. Yeah, you can scream and all this type of stuff inside it.
You going in here?
Yeah.
This is a deadly move, boy.
Huh? Yeah, everybody, I want them come and hear the history background in the cave store.
Where you going so also?
Down inside the street. The boat you get on one side. Because after this we are actually going back to the center. Because that will be the end of the history tour, and then maybe might have with some others who want to come afterwards. So we are taking this lead on here.
Dashing boy.
The pumpkin inside it.
Yeah. Is a market.
This tune well popular, boy. Thief.
Who want to go closer? They could go closer. Who don't want to go closer? I'm telling the story from here.
From here?
Yeah.
So let me go then.
You could go and see. Yeah, it's a seal too.
No, let me go out here.
Yeah, he's the founder of Lopino. That was Kong the Lopino, as you can see on the sign there. Yeah, Lopino.
This was his land now.
This was his land. Yeah, it's come. Yeah. No, he actually built his family here. But this is where he and his dog is buried. Okay? Yeah, he loved this dog. This dog was his best friend. Huh? Well, I don't know. But this is his.
No, they went back to France.
They went back to France and whatnot and things. Back then, you understand? Yeah.
And he stayed with his dog.
Dog was the favorite person.
Exactly.
That's what this is all about. Okay, everyone.
Who died before? Don't go ahead, come on.
I don't know. Could be both. The cave is far up inside. The cave is too dangerous for us to go at this moment. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is that I bring Holly here to see the grave, which part they bury his dog and whatnot and thing, right? Now back then, in them days, the Count was a fella, he maybe lived about 86 years, they say approximately. So he ruled this land and he ran this land for over 45 years of his life with slaves over and over, who died, who come back and whatnot, until it was end for him here. Now here is not his family, here is only he and his dog. His dog back then, he used to call his dog his best friend. So everybody knew that everywhere he goes, he used to have that dog with him. That dog come up the river with him on a boat too. So actually, this is which part it is. Now,
What's his relationship to the slaves? Was in charge of them?
he was in charge of them. Yes, he was a slave master. Yeah, so he had a big estate, working cocoas, working cane, and he had slaves back then working for him, hundreds of them, as you can see how big the area is. Right, so up here was his estate, which what he made money to see about his family back then. At that point in time, as I said, he was a very powerful man. So he had links and these type of things.
So he's taking prisoners and all?
Yeah, a lot of them. Well, the slaves itself is prisoners. The slaves is prisoners.
He was like a king there.
He was the, that is how it was. And well, we are not going to the cave today, but I'll give all a history background on the Martin Gomez cave. Now, Mr. Martin Gomez, he's not here anymore because he's come of age and he's give up on this type of work and thing. But that is the person that I sure many of y'all probably hear about or know in Parang and whatnot and these type of things. Okay, so Mr. Martin Gomez at the age of 13 years was running around in the area. At that point in time, he and his friends was playing football. And they kicked the ball, and at the moment when he kicked the ball, it hit the wall and it fell back down. But when it hit the wall, he realized that it had a hole in the wall, so he wanted to know what it was. So when he looked inside the hole, he realized there was a live cave. Live cave meaning there are bats, geckos, roaches, these type of thing inside the cave. So actually it do have water, spring clean water, crystal clean water. So at that point of time on top of the mountain there, which at a point into my right hand side here, it used to have quarry going on up there. People blasting stones with dynamite and whatnot and thing. So he rushed up there to the people to tell them what he saw and what he see and asked them if they could come down and blast it. 2 days after they came back and they blasted it open. When they blasted it open, they realized that it was really a live cave that leads to approximately 5 to 6 miles inside.
What?
After that, certain parts of the cave are break down now, which that you can go further on, but there are many nice things that you could see inside there. You understand now these days? And at that point in time, that is why they call it Martin Gomez Cave, because he was the founder of the cave at that point in time. So, yeah, I wish he was around that you all could have meet him and stuff. He's a very friendly guy, he loves people, you know. The cave is actually about 15 to 20 minutes up the road. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, we have tours to go on the cave, but we didn't get authorized to carry anybody to the cave today. Yeah, so it's okay. Okay,
Is
now
that a problem?
take all back to the
And
center.
stuff.
And if you have another group who want to come through.
Thanks.
Let's go be 2017. I just said it.
Because look how bright it's looking.
I just said it. Okay. 17, 37.
Beep beep.
It was our MP, Marvin Gonzalez. He did that. He did that. He take over and tell them, well, tourism board is going to take control. And tourism ain't even pass a waka yet in the place. Here. You're coming up to the church on this side here.
Which side?
Lopino, La Veronica, RSC church. In front of you, as you could see, that church
okay.
was built. Government primary school and all right here.
So what secondary school they have on this side?
Oh well, people from more like Eldo Blue, more like, yeah, those kind of schools on this side. Yeah.
Fresh mystery.
Yeah, I got it.
True. Yeah, I do that.
And now I'm sorry.
For your walk. That's ahead.
Yeah, from who? Yeah, that'll be right. I would like it though. Even though I'm friendly, we'll get licks, but if we get licks, as I say, we literally appreciate the you know, that at least we get, you know, because that's what we just do every week. Get side section and play. Yeah. Yeah. Too cool. Yeah. Oh, smart. So these are all some are private, some are state, most are agricultural. Yeah.
Where the van? ¿Cómo está? Where was van? Where the van?
This part of the mountain clear, so clear, the farm clear. Yeah, up so clear. You'll see certain places where is agriculture going on and whatnot. And most common thing to plant here? Well, up here, most common thing for me, back then it used to be more like cocoa and thing, but now, these days, people more look for, up here, more like fig. More like plantain, more like bean. If it's fast crop, they go plant things like cabbage, parsley, seasoning, short crops, you understand? So bygone all them things, these are what people like up here, these are what people like to do. You understand? Most of people billing and the family, what they see about their life and whatnot, is off agriculture. Yeah, up here, so you know. And last year, people get licks apparently, so yeah, so it wasn't really much nice for many people, you know. They lost a lot, you know. So yeah. But thank you again for going with me.
Anytime.
Yes, man. No problem.
Where were you guys?
Right here.
Eating all that time? Oh my word. Do you know what you missed?
You did?
We had a lovely tour. We went all by the river, all kind of thing. It's her work. Say it again. Please.
Bad words are just the ones in my mind or the ones that...
Whatever. Even hot. Only imagine in here, this place hot.
You see me well?
The man from the zoo.
I don't know you.
I'm feeling hot.
It's feeling hot. Well, they are cooled up now, right?
Yes.
Right.
And you know?
She's going to put on a makeup.
Makeup? What is makeup different? The different style? Eh? Tell me the different styles. I'm feeling green. Feeling good here, boy. I could stay a little longer then. It was better than ever. Maureen, take your time.
Don't choke.
Officer Dibbles.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I agree with you. Paparazzi. Paparazzi. You see that? You gonna report me to me? What process? Is it where she is right there? Thank you.
But to all of you, thank you so much for your life.